Hey folks, Doug Blake with Body Design University. Welcome to another Saturday live study for the NASM Certified Personal Trainer exam using the seventh edition textbook. Thanks, guys, for coming on board. Today we're going to be talking about, we're still in chapter 4, and on the online program that NASM, you could purchase it if you wanted to. They put it in lessons. It's still in lesson 5, and this talks about outcome goals. Chapter 4 speaks a lot to sort of the psychological component of helping people to be effective, productive in their training and accomplishing the goals that they're trying to accomplish. And NASM gives us a couple of ideas on how to do this. So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen. Okay. So give me a thumbs up if you can see the screen. Good. Okay, so as always, when you're going through your textbook, remember the goal is to pass the exam. You could always go back and look at things afterwards, but you got to pass the exam. So I want you to focus on understanding the terms, knowing the material well enough to answer questions on these quizzes and practice exams, which means you don't have to literally read through everything. But remember, we're always looking for terminology, and they give that to you. Remember, NASM did a great job. They give you the terms on the borders of the pages. So there's this term called outcome goals and process goals. We're always looking for bullet points. We're looking for tables, charts, things like that. So typically I can move through a couple of these pages fairly quick because I'm literally not going to read any of this. I'm going to look for their boxes. Let's try this box, for instance, and it has a couple of bullet points. And then today we're going to talk about the outcome versus process goals. Pretty straightforward. They give you the definitions. An outcome goal is a goal focused on the end result. I want to lose 20 pounds. That is my outcome. That's the outcome. I want to lose 20 pounds. I want to gain 10 pounds. I want to be able to bench press 200 pounds. I want to be able to blah, 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 whatever the case is. And it's really helpful because we talked about this last time about this idea of SMART goals. You can look at the previous video if you want to go over that. But the idea of having a goal, for the most part, not for everybody, but for the most part, can be helpful. And it can be motivating. It can help you in the way you encourage people. Remember, you're a coach, first and foremost. And coaching requires that you have something to latch onto with your client. If I know my client is trying to lose 20 pounds, right, I can use that as a point of encouragement when they're not doing what they're supposed to do, right? So if the outcome goal is to lose 20 pounds of body fat or whatever the case is, now the question is well, exactly how do you do that? And you can call this any number of things. NASM uses a fairly well accepted concept known as the process goals, right? And the process goals are simply the tasks that you put in place to reach your outcome goal. So you got an outcome goal and process goals that get you there. We will normally talk about mini goals in the BDU materials, remember? Okay. So we talk about, a main goal. By the end of the year, I want to do this. Well, you got to break that down into smaller mini goals, right? Losing 50 pounds doesn't just happen. That's a great goal to have. It's specific, it's measurable, right? It's attainable, realistic, and timely. But now what we have to do is we have to put in place sort of tasking to get us there. And guys, this isn't difficult, is it? I mean, this is pretty straightforward, I hope. Nothing really difficult about having a client say to you 50 pounds body fat or 50 pounds of body weight. Great. We're going to do that in 6 months, 4 months, whatever the case is. We must now put in place the tasking or what are known as process goals. Okay. Is everybody good with that?
Mhm.
This is how we could kind of break it down with our clients. And we go through this. So now you're going to next page, of course, helpful hints. Outcome goals focus on the end result, dependent on the individual skill set, motivation. Obviously, we're going to get the client to, I would recommend have them write it down. By the way, you all remember in Module 3 of the BDU materials. We talked about personality profiling. Yes? Remember that? A-type A-type personality folks are going to do what? They are driven by results. So if I make that a major focus of my coaching technique and I emphasize that with them, that's probably going to help those individuals to follow the process goals they put in place. Does that make sense? Not so much with B types. C types maybe, D types maybe, but y'all understand this. Because you know your clients and you understand their personalities, you can kind of tweak how you're going to work your process goals. Remember, the outcome goal is straightforward, it's simple. Each of you have outcome goals, don't you? Yes? Mimi, what's an outcome goal that you have from a physical fitness perspective? What's an outcome goal that you have?
I still want to decrease my body fat percentage.
How much?
About like 3%, maybe. I mean,
3%.
I don't know actually.
But guys, you get the idea. If Mimi's a client of mine, I'm going to go, is it 3% or 4%? What is it? Let's get specific and let's write that down. Now, that's easy, isn't it? Terry, what's a
Mhm.
process, what's an outcome goal that you have?
Outcome goal is for me to get my client to get a certain speed at a certain distance.
Your outcome goal, like, and you're talking about one of your athletes.
Right,
You're going to ask your athlete, what is the outcome goal that we're trying to achieve? And the athlete is going to say to you, well, I'm running a 10-7 on my 100. I'd really like to get sub 10. I'd love for you to get sub 10. You'd be an Olympic level athlete. But that's an outcome goal.
right,
You get the idea? But what are the process goals? For Mimi, it's going to be significantly easy. 3% body fat is the equivalent, I don't know, 7 pounds, 8 pounds of body. I don't know what it is. But Mimi, you get the idea. Your process goals are now going to be what? Every day, I'm going to do boop this. I'm going to do this, this, and this. And those process goals should, if they're spelled out correctly and you do them, will lead to the outcome that you had said in the beginning. To go from a 10-7 to a sub 10 is going to be like 2 years of training.
right.
You get what I'm saying? So
Yeah.
that's not a good outcome goal for
Okay.
my 16, 17-year-old athlete. A good outcome goal is to go from a 10-7 to consistently doing 10-5s, ten
Right.
fours.
Right.
That's a great goal to accomplish that in 3, 4, maybe 5 months or this season.
Right.
Very specific. Now, what are the process goals, Terry, for that outcome? Every day.
What we do in practice.
You get it?
Yes.
Here's where we have problems with our clients, their nutrition. We can talk about outcome goals all day long, but if they're not following the nutritional guidelines that we post for them, most of the outcome goals that people want are very difficult to achieve. Mimi is never going to achieve that if she doesn't follow the proper nutrition plan. Can exercise as much as you want. You might lose a little bit, but for somebody like her, because she's already in really good shape, it's going to be your nutrition is going to. Does that make sense? So that's all. I mean, that's really all NASM is trying to get to, and they'll give you a bunch of definitions. Um, a training tip, another again, guys. NASM gave you information here that you can look and read at. And look, you've got a bunch of bullet points. All I'm telling you is that when you're studying this material, look at the bullet points. Although goal setting principles important physical fitness, to help individualize goals, you can ask people these questions. And they're giving you examples of questions that you can ask. By the way, you can ask all the questions and get all the answers. But where does the rubber meet the road? Is with implementation. Implementation of the process goals. I hope that makes sense. That's not the easiest thing to do. That's what we're here for. So as you make it through this part of the lesson, now they're going to talk about enhancing self-efficacy. Does everybody remember what self-efficacy was?
Yes.
It's the confidence that somebody has in accomplishing and achieving goals, getting things done, right? If you do something and you accomplish and you complete it, complete the task, that builds your self efficacy. You believe that you can actually do it again. How many of you believe that you can get up in the morning and brush your teeth? I do. I have a lot of faith that I can do that. Why? It's because I've done it a million times before. My self-efficacy on that simple, very basic task is very high. So one of the things that goal setting does for people is it allows them to accomplish the goals. That's why we have process goals. Every time you accomplish a goal, every time you complete a task, you get a little notch, you get a little bit of a deposit into your self efficacy bank account. Because if you can lose 1 percentage point of body fat, Mimi, guess what? You can lose another. You get it? Remember the different components of self efficacy. So actually doing something, accomplishing it builds your self efficacy. You can look at other people that are similar to you, and if they accomplish goals, you can feel like you can accomplish goals. So there's all these different components of self efficacy. So if a client and here's a good uh, part of this as they summarize it. If a client improves on any metric of fitness, guys, for some people, it's that they show up consistently for a couple of weeks, believe it or not. Okay. For some people, any metric of fitness, they're able to do one or two more push ups in 30 days from the first time you tested them. Anything that they have improved on, you may not be impressed, but trust me, it will build their self efficacy. And the more you build a person's self efficacy, the more they are confident. It builds their self confidence in being able to accomplish more. You know, people used to come to me and say, I don't know what I'm doing. I've lost 30 pounds like 4 or 5 times throughout my life, and I keep gaining it back. And you know what my response is? I'm like, well, that's actually pretty good. You've lost 30 pounds? Well, you've already proven that you could do it. You're screwing it up because of the way you're doing it and you're going right, you're yo-yo. But how about we use that as a positive? I'm going to encourage you to eat a certain way, and you'll lose the 30 pounds that you've done a number of times. But because you've already done it, could you do it again? And they would say, yeah, I know I could do it again, but I want to keep it off this time. Can you do that with somebody? Can you help them to get the 30 pounds off and keep it off? Of course you can. That's what we do. That's self efficacy. Does that make sense?
Mhm.
Yes.
Yep.
And that's really all, it's interesting reading, I guess. So the idea then is now, as you're going through, I'm not going to go through all of these with you. They give you a couple of terms: implementation, intentions, coping plans. You can read through that. one of one of the training tips boxes down at the bottom. Read through it. I'm just going to go to the next page. Do you see how I'm going through this, guys? You don't have to read through all of this, and not all of it is important from a testing perspective. Self monitoring. Now, okay, if you want to use diet record sheets with people, absolutely. You can Google this stuff and get your own. You can create your own. Remember today, AI, you can create just about anything. Chat GTP, you can make anything now on your own. Again, you could use theirs. Self monitoring provides information needed for setting realistic goals. Food intake journals. Everybody knows about using MyFitnessPal, right?
Mhm.
Any of those calorie counting apps can be really, really helpful for some folks. How many of y'all use those type of apps yourself personally? Okay.
Mhm.
Dustin, Terry, not every, look, it doesn't
Yeah,
work for everybody.
yeah, I
It really
work
doesn't. You
athletes.
try it with folks, you grab your phone and you say, look, I'm going to have you go and get in this case, I use MyFitnessPal. And I want you to record all your food. Some people will actually do it. Most people won't.
Mhm.
Depends on their personality type, doesn't it? To a great extent. We're going to do the best we can with folks when it comes to using those type of strategies. So you could use obviously a diet record worksheet could be helpful. Um, what do you see here? Bullet points. So what do we do? Self-monitoring logs provide a client with several benefits. What are some of the benefits? Well, opportunity to observe progress over time, which can enhance confidence or self-efficacy. What do you do with bullet points from a studying perspective?
Paraphrase and take notes.
Crush them down. Get 2 to 3 words to summarize it. Least common denominator, right? So, opportunity to observe progress over time, which can enhance confidence. Progress equals confidence. That's what I would put. 2 words with an equal sign. Progress, meaning accomplishing goals, equals confidence. You're more confident that you can do it. If you're losing weight, you will by default feel more confident that you can lose weight. The two go together. Accountability, if the client knows that the fitness pro is going to ask to see the log. In other words, I'm going to call you out if you ain't making the significant changes that you need to make, right? And by the way, that's a handshake agreement I always have with clients. Are you okay if I call you out on this? Yeah, sure. That's what I'm paying for. Okay. I'm just going to be honest with you. If you ain't losing the body fat and you're telling me you're doing things, I I'm not sure you're actually doing those things. Okay. But to a certain extent, they are paying for that. So accountability. That's when somebody is responsible for calling out somebody else when they're not doing what they're supposed to do. Does that make sense? Terry, you know this with your athletes, right?
Mm-hmm.
What are you doing? Do, do your athletes smoke cigarettes?
No,
They
no.
better not. My clients better not be smoking cigarettes. I can't tell them, I can't force them, but I'm going to be like, look, you can't be doing this and you can't do this and you can't do this if you want to accomplish
He's
the
going.
goals you set out.
Mm-hmm.
If you want me to be an accountable factor, then it's my responsibility to what? Hold
Keep
you
them accountable.
responsible to the things you and I agreed on you were going to do. Does that make sense? Just like when we talk about your NASM and your BDU final exam and passing your NASM, in a sense, we're holding you guys accountable, right? You've agreed, you paid money, you're doing all this stuff to do what? To accomplish a goal. Well, if you're not passing your practice exams and doing all the things you need to do, then we got to call you out on that. Does that make sense?
Sure
That's
does.
that's one way. That's one way to look at it. Okay. So go through your 3 bullet points, and then some common time management strategy. Time management stuff has been around forever. I Most of them just don't work. Why? Because it doesn't matter what's on paper. It's about implementation. You can tell me all you want about how you're going to do something and how bad you want to do something, but it's the implementation of it. It's actually you doing it. So, guys, how many of you have tried any of these things? Most people have tried something. I have found still better than anything else is to use, I'm at 100%, so I don't need my plug. Um, alarms.
Mm-hmm.
Alarms, probably one of the best ways to hold yourself accountable to certain things. Okay. Self discipline. Can't teach you self discipline, folks. You can't teach your clients self discipline. One of the reasons why I used to charge so much money for training people, because the only way I could really get people generally to do stuff was to hit them hard in the wallet. Because I knew if somebody was paying the type of money that they had to pay to train with me, I knew they were serious, honestly. That's why you never want to charge 20 bucks an hour as a trainer. Oh, no, 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 no. Minimum right now is 50 an hour. That's low, to be honest with you, in this industry. Certified personal trainers. $50 an hour is low. You get it? Why? Because people have to have some buy-in to this, and holding people accountable through their wallet sometimes is the best way to do it. And I ain't got no problem saying that and no problem doing it, because honestly, you'd be surprised how some people really step up to the plate when they know they got to pay you for another month, and it's more than their mortgage payment. So look at some of these things, and you can utilize them. Of course, these are some strategies that NASM suggests. Nothing that you can't find in any psychology textbook or any leadership textbook, anything like that. They work just as well in fitness and health and wellness. Okay. Cognitive strategies. What are these going to be? Thoughts and attitudes, right? Generally, we will look to this one concept of what's known as self-talk. It's the internal dialogue. What are you saying to yourself? Right? Everybody has self-talk. Right? Terry, you got athletes. What should they be saying kind of to themselves, right? In general, not I'm the greatest there's ever been. No, you're not. Actually, no, you're really not that good, but you can get better, right? You know how many people I've had to tell, no, actually, you're not going to be a competitive bodybuilder. Sorry. You just don't have it genetically. Do whatever you want to do, but trust me, it's not going to happen. But you can get better and leaner and more muscular and look great. Does that make sense? So we want people saying things kind of in their brain, speaking to themselves. You can do it. I don't know. I mean, you guys tell me, do you have like self-talk stuff?
Yeah, well, people say they can't do it all the time.
Yeah.
You tell them, no, I can do it. Say it with me.
Yeah, because that's self-defeating. That could be very self-defeating.
Yeah.
And we definitely don't want negative self-talk because, there's an old saying, the way you think is the path you're going to take.
Yeah,
Right?
it's a principle.
The way you think is the path you're going to take. I can't do it. You're
You won't
absolutely
do it.
correct.
Yeah, that's a principle.
You can't. Can I do it? Okay, hang on a second. Don't be unrealistic. Okay? Just so y'all know, I am not going to be an NBA all-star.
Yeah.
I can say I'm going to be that all I want. My self-talk, you're the best. You can do it, Doug. Oh, Doug, you're the best. You can do it. You can jump. No, I can't. So I'm not going to be able to do certain things. So it's got to be realistic. That internal dialogue, that self-talk generally needs to have some positive component to it. And we help people with that, right? We encourage our clients getting one little iota of getting something better is really, really helpful. Okay. So internal dialogue in which the individual interprets feelings, perceptions, yada, yada. That's cool. Positive self-talk. And so this is where we can come and assist. Guys, you can go through the rest of this. There's some bullet points here. I'm not going to read everything with you. Remember, chapter 4 is a moderate priority chapter. There's a lot of interesting information in here. Your main job at this point is to go through, look at your bullet points. Yeah, look at some of these concepts. I don't think they're difficult, right? They're not difficult. You're not going to be asked too many questions on any of these. Okay. Go through it fairly quick. And I'm just going to keep going through here. And that's going to end I wanted to get to the end of this lesson. Okay. So hang on a second. Next week, we're going to start with lesson 6. Any questions on that last lesson that we went through? Any questions on any of that? No? It's pretty straightforward. Again, go through it. Don't spend a whole lot of time on it, but just make sure you understand the basic concepts. Okay. So appreciate you guys coming on board. If you have any questions, you can leave them in the comment section below. If you haven't done so, please make sure you subscribe to the channel. Y'all have a great weekend. We will see you next week. Thanks.
See you later, Doug. Thanks.
Take care,
All right,
Doug.
guys.